Hello, here we are with episode 3 of Percy Jackson. Very excited, really like the first 2 episodes. I feel like I was watching back my reactions when I was editing them, and I feel like I was mostly voicing my criticisms, I guess just because I already had such a high bar that I wasn't saying a lot of the things I really liked. But I did really like them, and I'm excited for the start episode. I am very curious to see how they will handle Medusa, because I have seen some things that suggest there's a different view on that story than there was when the book came out. Sort of in that vein, I have seen theories that Sally is not going to kill Gabe, and they did tone Gabe down a lot for the show in terms of how abusive he at least appeared to be at the beginning. And at least from what they've shown us so far, I don't know that this version of Gabe would necessarily warrant having Medusa's head used on him. Obviously, we haven't seen all there is to see, but I did see some theorize Percy may not even kill her. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I can accept a more sympathetic take, but Percy's whole thing is to mirror the story of Perseus in Greek mythology. Like, each book, he basically mirrors a different Greek hero. In the first book, it's Perseus, who obviously mostly was known for killing Medusa. And that scene in the museum in the first episode where Sally was talking about Perseus, it seemed like they might have been a little bit slandering the mythological Perseus, who overall was a good dude. He killed Medusa because it's what he had to do to save his mother. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I'm not going to prejudge too much. But because of, all this discussion that's been happening around it, and, this more sympathetic take and what they said in the first episode, I'm curious how they're going to handle it. There's also, of course, the question of how bad they're going to make Poseidon look and how bad they're going to make Athena look, because obviously that's Percy's dad and Annabeth's mom. And, in the books, especially Poseidon, obviously none of the gods are perfect and, they're all very flawed. But Poseidon was one that generally we were meant to be sympathetic to in the books in a lot of it. And obviously it's because we're in Percy's head and he's Percy's father. But, he came across as significantly less bad than a lot of the gods. So I'm intrigued to see how they're going to tell this story, since this is really going to be the first, significant interaction we have with something Poseidon has done before we're even going to get to meet him. So I'm curious. And obviously, I'm very excited to see them all going on the quest. I listened to the Killer Quest song from the musical again just today, which obviously, has the lines where Percy says, I'll do it, not because my dad needs me, because if my mom's alive, that's where she's bound to be, because obviously in the musical and in the book he didn't know Sally was alive. But really, his final moment of the last episode where he's like, I'm not doing this for Poseidon, I'm doing this because I'm Sally Jackson's son. And really the song has that, and then them going off on their quest together, and obviously where Grover and Annabeth are coming with him. I'm excited to see how they do. I hope this episode goes more into the motivations that Grover and Annabeth have for wanting to go with Percy. Obviously, the last episode touched a little bit on Annabeth's motivation of wanting to prove herself, but, there's more about, it's not just that she wants to prove herself, it's that she wants to prove herself because she has felt overlooked and forgotten a lot in her life, and she wants to prove that she's capable of, doing something great. Her whole central thing, I want to build something that'll last forever, is because she's felt like nothing in her life is permanent, nobody sticks around, she wants to prove to people that she is worth their attention. So I hope they get into that. And then with Grover, obviously his whole second chance, how he failed at being a protector the first time and wants it to work this time, and specifically, how the council has said that he has to accompany Percy on a quest and succeed in order for him to have this mission considered a success, so that he can get what he wants. I don't want to be too specific in case there's non-book readers watching this, but that he wants something that he can't have unless he makes a successful mission of protection, which they don't consider him with Percy unless he accompanies him on this quest. And also just that he really wants to stick by his friend. I don't know. They had Sally make Grover promise to protect Percy, swear it. So I don't know if they're going to replace Grover's motivation with just that and not have his personal motivation, but I hope they don't, because what I really love about the quest in the book is that Percy, Grover, and Annabeth, all three of them, have their own deeply personal motivation for going on this quest, in addition to just the general, obviously, we need to stop the war between the gods and save the world is that every single one of them has their selfish motivation for the quest. Like, they're drawn together by the fact that they all have something personal riding on this. So I hope that they do make it clear that Grover has something more to it than just wanting to protect Percy. Not that protecting Percy isn't a great goal. He does want to do that, and that is, his role as the protector of both Percy and Annabeth is a huge part of his character, but I hope they get into his motivations, and we'll see. Obviously, we're gonna see the prophecy this episode. That's very exciting because they cut the prophecy out of the movie entirely. And obviously that's a huge part of it, the whole you will fail to save what matters most in the end, weighing on Percy the whole time. Obviously also the you'll be betrayed by one who calls you a friend, and him constantly wondering if one of the people he's with might turn on him. So yeah, I think I've talked enough. I think this is the longest pre-episode thoughts I've ever done on a reaction, mostly because having read the book, I have, a lot of, thoughts about this section of the book. But I am very excited to see how they do it this episode. Everything. One last note, since they cut Argus out of the show, for anyone who hasn't read the books, that's Camp Half-Blood's security guy. He's the one who drives them into New York in the books. In the terrible, terrible movie, because they raged up, they just had them drive themselves. Since they're 12 and there's no Argus, how are they getting into the city? Curious. We'll see. But yeah, so enough thoughts from me. Let's get into the episode. Oh, they're cutting right to the Oracle scene with no explanation, huh? No, if you come back still sane, we'll talk.
Hi, I'm Percy.
Oh, his voice cracked.
It's nice to meet you, which is weird, considering your Halloween decoration.
That's like Percy.
Oh, jeez. You seem busy. I'll come back.
Are they gonna have it be where Gabe's guilty spirit delivers the prophecy, like in the book? Probably not, but... Oh, no, they did.
Come on. Really?
The Oracle has confirmed what we expected.
He didn't.
That this quest will proceed toward we succeed.
Annabeth. Someone to push me down a flight of stairs for it to succeed. You want someone who won't hesitate when they do it.
That's an interesting motivation.
First,
I like that reasoning. A little different from the book, where he's basically just like, who else would want to go on this quest except for Annabeth? And she's like, I'll keep you from messing up.
Dude, what have you been eating? Yes.
Oh, Grover, you're so sweet.
No, he was not.
Oh, Mr.
So-
Deepwood.
Funny. No, seriously, who'd you choose?
I chose you.
Aw, Percy.
Why?
You shall be betrayed by the one who calls you friend.
Here we go.
And fail to save what matters most in the end.
Yeah.
I trust you.
Aw, Percy.
And right now, nothing's more important than that.
That's so sweet. He doesn't want to be betrayed.
I'm gonna
Oh.
pack the best snacks.
That's sweet, but we didn't get into Grover's motivation for wanting to go. And that's what I was right about. Like, Grover, he was scared to go when Percy told him, he was like, are you sure you want me? But he also wanted to go.
$200 in cash and...
Wow, that's actually not a lot to
these.
get across the whole country.
I think they're Canadian, maybe? Or from Chuck E. Cheese, I don't know.
They're golden drachmas.
The winged shoes. Annabeth would try to stop him if it got in the way of the quest. Certainly at this point in her characterization, in their journey, Annabeth would.
Her satyr protector tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen. So,
No,
at the
that's-
last moment,
The most powerful being in the universe's best idea to save his daughter's life was to turn her into a tree?
She was the bravest demigod I ever knew. She fought valiantly, and she met a hero's fate.
She met a pinecone's fate.
Okay, Percy.
And you are not Thalia.
Ooh.
Do exactly as...
Does she think she's in charge?
who'd you think would be in charge?
I guess I assumed we'd do show of hands or something.
Aw, it is his quest.
Altered the course of human civilization.
But who is driving them?
Changed the balance of power on Olympus.
Also, Luke went on one to get an apple.
There is no way this is what sacred smells like.
We're soldiers on a mission. It's not a vacation.
Yeah, no one mentioned that.
No one ever tells him anything.
Friend.
I really don't want to be a tiebreaker. have a better idea. Oh golly, the road's getting bumpy 'cause I got me some friends who just can't get along. Oh dear, when the team's getting grumpy, the trick to getting through it is singing this song.
What are you doing?
It's a consensus song. Verse 2 encourages us to say nice things about each other. Fade away.
Oh, I love this.
If Thalia were better at hers, there might not be a family of squirrels making her their home.
Whoa!
Is that why Hades sent you here?
No, Annabeth. Okay, they made that into a lot less of a fight than it was in the book, where they, like, blew up the whole bus.
Somewhere up ahead, this turns into a Seder path.
What's a Seder path?
Lost in the woods.
It's a
somewhere in
road
New
through the
Jersey,
wilderness.
where everything
Seder
is
explorers
to
use them.
LA.
Harder to
Of course, New Jersey. But we found one. At least let's call your mom.
That's not how that
Excuse
works.
me?
Athena? Your mother? I'd call my father, but we aren't exactly on speaking terms. You know, because of the lifelong neglect and all, but
They
you and your
all
mother
do
seem
that.
close, so
Very exciting. Getting to walk in Uncle Ferdinand's footsteps.
Oh,
Next best
Uncle
thing to getting to...
Ferdinand.
Thalia, Luke, and Annabeth had a Seder protector.
Oh, he didn't figure this out nearly this early
That was
in the
you.
book.
Auntie M has a garden full of petrified stone folks.
Okay, they figured this out a lot faster than in the
This
book.
is someone probably still can.
Oh, he followed them. Okay, changing it up. So it's not all in the bus. I don't mind.
Should have.
If you have something to resolve, why not come inside and I'll help? Electo, will you be joining us?
This is interesting. It does feel a little Hansel and Gretel.
Percy, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm really hungry, and I'm ready to take that chance.
We're not our parents, after all. And you and I might have more in common than you think.
Made
Please,
treated badly by
sit and
Athena.
eat. Athena was everything to me. I worshipped her. I prayed to her. I made offerings. She never answered. Not even an omen to suggest she appreciated my love. I wasn't like you, sweetheart. I was you.
Ooh.
I would have worshipped her
That's
that way
rough.
for a life.
She's not usually like that.
I guess she is, and all the time
I mean, a
you've known
little
her.
bit she is, but
Yeah.
that was a lot.
She's going to betray you. Sooner or later, people like her, I could help you remove them from the equation
Whoa, okay, so she's
so
trying to
that you can be free of them
play them against each other. Okay.
if you ask me
An
to.
interesting take. Oh, I feel like they're gonna change Percy sending her head to the side, and if he still does that in this version, which we'll see shortly, I think he would send it not just as a I want my dad to see me and I want to screw them for sending me on this quest, but specifically as a I want to make my dad think about what he did to Medusa sort of way. And I like that. Like, make the gods think about what they did to her, not just about what they did to him. Maybe a both, like, they screwed us both over. I just hope we still get Percy sending the head, because it does result in one of my favorite lines in the entire series, which is, I am impertinent. Well, this is new.
You two have chosen.
I mean, they didn't choose anything, they're just kids. Well, you can't take out what was done
A
to you by
daughter
the
of
gods.
a
on
self-righteous
kids.
mother. You could have shown your father what it means to stand up for someone you love.
Okay, so they're making what
You could
Poseidon
choose
did
to
wrong.
save your mother
Be not
instead
standing
of
up for
doing
her
your father's
when
bidding.
Athena cursed her.
If neither of you
Okay.
will help teach these lessons, perhaps you should be the
I can
lessons.
see.
When
that
I
angle.
ship your statues
I like
to
that angle.
Olympus.
Did you
Okay,
hear that?
Are you okay?
that's an interesting. Putting the invisibility
Did
cap
you
on
say
her,
something?
so they don't see her head.
Want me to take it from here?
No, I got it.
This is funny. This the
Make sure it's
invisible
pointing in the
acting.
right direction.
I love that twist of them using the hat. Oh, now this is fascinating. This was not in the book. This is a cool way to kill her, as opposed to just, stabbing her on the bus. I love that. That is such a creative twist. Not at all in the book, but very interesting.
We aren't even to Trenton.
Man,
Look at him.
Trenton getting digs.
You hear about this from Medusa.
Okay, while we're at it, you should have accepted my offer.
Ooh,
What's that about, do you
throwing
think?
it back at
And why
her.
do we have to hear it from Electo?
Enough!
Yeah, y'all, Grover just found out his uncle died.
That was But maybe things need to get a little upsetting before they move forward.
Yeah, they probably
She
should.
asked you.
I didn't mean it that way.
You kind of did, though.
Electo offered to help our quest if I gave you up to her.
What did you say?
I killed her sister.
Medusa offered to help me save my mom if I turned to the two of you.
What'd you say?
I cut off her head.
As long as the three of us are together,
Oh, the first real moment.
none of us are
I
gonna be
love
alone.
this. I love this.
because we won't make it.
He's right.
I think I've got a better idea what to do with this.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. I love this moment so much from the book.
Hermes Express. She ships these things all over.
At all.
Why? That's what you do with dangerous stuff. Like batteries, you just send them back where they came from.
And they made
Okay,
her.
look, they will see this as impertinent.
I am impertinent.
Yes, but we're not.
Really, very not. Look,
Yes, I am impertinent. That's
Medusa
his
tried to
line.
derail our quest.
Thank you.
Aw, I love them starting to connect.
Choosing each other.
I love Grover.
You're gonna sing the song, aren't you? Okay.
Oh, golly. The road's getting
Whatever.
bumpy. Consensus.
I love them. I love them so much. Is this Hermes, maybe? Oh, we're actually gonna get to see the gods getting the head. That is not something we got to see in the book, because obviously we're only in Percy's head. I love that this is happening. Hey, and there he is. He's not happy. Dude, can't you just fly up to Olympus? Why do you have to take the elevator like the Flex?
Mount Olympus.
You guys are not gonna believe this.
I love that. I love that. This was such a good episode. Oh, this is cute. I loved this episode so much. I can't even. Oh my goodness. I thought the way they handled Medusa was great. They did make her more sympathetic and acknowledge that the gods had a very bad hand in this. Because, in the book we sort of only hear Annabeth tell the story, and obviously she was biased towards her mother, so I like that we got that more sympathetic look. But, obviously, she still did bad things, and we still see that she did bad things and she faces the consequences for that. We still get Percy mailing the head to Olympus. I love that little tag of Hermes taking it to Olympus. That's brilliant. And given that Hermes is going to appear in a later scene that we know, even though he wasn't in the book, I think maybe it's going to be a response to this mailing the head to Olympus thing. So that's exciting. I loved Percy and Annabeth, having that rocket dynamic at the start, but coming together a bit and finding common understanding at the end. And we got a mention of Uncle Ferdinand, which means I think we are going to get into Grover talking about his search request at some point. I would have thought it was this episode, because that's sort of where it happens right after they kill Medusa in the book. Maybe it's going to be the beginning of the next episode while they're on the train that they talk about it, but that train is also where Percy and Annabeth talk about her father. So I'm thinking, obviously both conversations can happen on the train. I'm thinking now that Annabeth knows that he's doing it to save his mother, that's going to come up. Because in the book he asks her, would you save your father? And she says no, and that starts a whole, conversation that opens them up to deeper understanding of each other. So I'm excited to potentially see that in the next episode. And now I'm going to get very specifically into talking spoiler territory. And I said I want this to be open to people who haven't read the book, and so if that's you, thanks for watching. But now I'm going to talk about things that were set up for later, because they are really playing into the angle that Annabeth might betray him. And obviously, I think even a casual show watcher can probably understand that if they're playing it up this hard, this early, it's not going to be Annabeth. But I think it's really interesting that they're playing it up like that, because there's a couple moments in the book where you think it might maybe be Annabeth. There's even a couple moments where you think it might maybe be Grover, but I love it because of how it comes back around with at the end of, and I love the idea that Percy chose Annabeth because he thought, oh, we won't be friends, so she won't betray me, and that's the real reason he didn't choose Luke, because Luke is his friend, and he's already a bit wary of Luke, and he trusts Grover to have his back no matter what. And even though he doesn't say it, he only says he thinks Luke might help Annabeth stop him from saving his mother, but he is being a little wary of Luke, which obviously he should be. But the fact that he chose Annabeth, and obviously Medusa said Annabeth would betray him, and with Medusa being slightly more sympathetic in this adaptation, you might believe her. And then obviously she chose not to betray him to the Fury. He chose not to betray them to Medusa, and so that was a great bonding moment. But I love the sort of playing up that tension a little bit, because it pays off so well with the big lines in the truck with the zebra where she says, "Because you're my friend, Seaweed Brain," and in the underworld where both Grover and Annabeth offer to trade places with Sally so Percy can take her with him, and he says that he'd spent the whole quest worried he'd be betrayed by a friend, but neither of these friends would betray him, and chooses to leave Sally behind so they can both go with him. And that moment pays off so well. And the fact that they're playing up these tensions a little bit, I love it. Overall, really, really loved the episode. So excited already to watch it again. And yeah, I'm so glad we're getting the adaptation we deserve of these books.